Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith. We have some breaking news today. This is from the Capital Gazette. This newspaper was targeted by a gunman just a few hours ago. It comes after Rod Rosenstein was questioned on Capitol Hill today regarding Peter Strzok and some other developments in the OIG report. Now, before I get into what I was going to say, I want to mention this really quickly. This is a copy of the OIG report. This is the one that everybody's been talking about. It has to do with Comey and Hillary Clinton's email server. Now, what's interesting is that Coleman is the FBI agent who was tasked with taking notes about things that happened in the Clinton email investigation. And Coleman's notes from October 4th contain the following entry. Anthony Weiner, something unrelated, and Anthony Weiner. These notes. Texting, 5-year-old, sexually explicit, 926 Federal SW, iPhone, iPad, and laptop. Initial analysis of laptop, thousands of emails. Hillary Clinton and Foundation, crime against children. And this is the thing that stood out to me. Someone said that hidden inside of this report were 2 bombshells. I believe that this is bombshell number 1. So if we've missed this, I don't want to get off track or have it be a distraction, because we were questioning, or Rod Rosenstein was being questioned today on Capitol Hill. So it's very odd that a newspaper shooting in Washington or around the same area happens the very same day within hours of each other. I just find that odd. So back to the report that I was giving you earlier. 5 are dead from the Capital Gazette. They were targeted by somebody who had sued them before and lost. The victims were Rob Hazen, a former writer, Wendy Winters, Gerald Fishman, John McNamara, and Rebecca Smith. 2 others were injured in the attack. The interesting thing happens is that the address of the Capital Gazette is at 888 Best Gate Road in Annapolis. So for those of you who like symbolism, 888 Best Gate Road in Annapolis might ring some bells. Now, since we're talking about symbolism, and I like symbolism, in the Capitol, Freemasonry is very symbolic. So we have our nation's roots in Freemasonry. So I'll bring that up here in a second. Now, police took the suspect into custody, so they caught him, and he was identified as Jarrod W. Ramos, a 38-year-old Laurel man with a long-standing grudge against the paper. It was a targeted attack, they said. Okay, so they bring up this guy named Eric Hartley, and that's who was sued. So Ramos had a dispute with the Capital Gazette back in 2011 in July, when a columnist wrote about a criminal harassment case against him. He brought a defamation suit against the columnist, but the court ruled against him. And that columnist's name was Eric Hartley. Now, Jarrod has a Twitter account, so we're going to look at that here in a second, as well as possibly explore some Freemasonry symbolism. But here's an article on theamericanconservative.com, Jarrod Ramos, psycho. And just some details about him. Here's a link to his, here's his Twitter handle. So let's check that out. Wow, right? That's some weird stuff. So Jarrod, his handle is Eric Hartley, FRND. And maybe, is that friend? Eric Hartley friend? Now, I don't think that's a picture of Jarrod. Right? That's a picture of Jarrod. That's probably a picture of Eric Hartley. Now, the odd thing is he's got this thing on his head. I mean, you can see that, right? It's pretty easy to see. The other odd thing is in his banner over here, it's kind of offset. There's black over by Jarrod. Maybe it's just a picture that was framed up weird. It mentions this guy named Philip Merrill, 1934 to 2006. And over here, it's got some text buried up in the top right. And this is what I find very interesting. It's because someone placed this text here very carefully so that it showed up specifically right there. You see that, right? That's how people would do a Twitter. So this is all on purpose. This is all centered that way. Really juvenilely, but effectively. And the text reads, everybody knows the stupid court of appeals are a-holes, but at least they're pleasant a-holes. And these two people, one of them, the man, has the same logo thing over his head that Jarrod Ramos has and in his picture, which is probably Eric Hartley. Okay, now I checked back here, and there's no picture or profile for Eric Hartley as the staff writer at the Capital Gazette. But I did a quick search on Twitter, and I found some weird stuff. So that Eric Hartley friend, FRND, this guy, this is Jarrod W. Ramos's account that I just showed you. So 11 hours ago, right before the shooting, okay, he tweeted this out. F you, leave me alone, at Judge Moyland FRND. Crazy stuff. The time of this tweet is just 3 minutes before the shooting. Spooky. I don't understand it. Saying he's a Trump supporter. I don't know. There's a lot here to unpack. A lot to talk about. So people are already on this. This is happening on Twitter. Now the interesting thing is if we go look at this looks exactly the same. It's the same style stuff, same background image. It has a gun pointed at this guy's head. Now I'm wondering if this is Eric Hartley. Wondering. So, talks about a rogue court, a bunch of weird stuff here. But these people, look, he's got the little thing on his head right there too. There's that little thing, here's that little thing, here's that little thing. And this must be the judge. Rebellious rogue peasant. No tweets. 115 followers. Go follow it, man. See if anything happens. I bet the guy that owns this account, though, is in custody. I'm betting. So you might not get a response. Okay, more stuff. This might be Eric Hartley. I'm not sure. You can take a look if you'd like. It seems very newsy, news-related. It's in Virginia, so I think it's in the same area. And he kind of looks similar to the guy I just pointed out in the picture, the header. I haven't confirmed it's him, though, so be careful. Now, here's some weird stuff. So it turns out that Mr. Ramos, the shooter, had a personal site on Verizon. So a Verizon My Site. And it has to do with his whole court case, a bunch of ranting, lots of different stuff, official-looking documents, emails, things like that, Life of Kings. So the interesting part is this. Now, this is very Masonic. And I don't know everything about this, but I think that this is the two towers, right? I'm pretty sure that's the two towers. Now, in Freemasonry, this is called the Twin Pillars, I think. And there's two pillars, and then each pillar has three big or smaller pillars on top of it. And there's like a grid. And I don't know if that's like a bed of nails in between it. I'm not sure what this is in the middle. Maybe you can help me out. This is as far as I've gotten with this. I was lucky enough to dig this up. This is on the QAnon post if you'd like to go take a look. But this is what it means. It's called the Twin Pillars of Boaz and Jachin. When you see the Twin Towers represented and the New Freedom Tower, you understand the occult goal of the secret societies. So I don't know this in detail. I just wanted to present it. Here's a little bit more stuff about it. It's interesting. It's biblical. According to the Bible, Boaz and Jachin, I think I said that right, were two copper, brass, or bronze pillars which stood in the porch of Solomon's temple, the first temple in Jerusalem. So that's first temple stuff. And then we had the second temple that got knocked down, and now we're entering, probably the era of the third temple. All right, now there's been a lot of talk about branding So someone was saying that potentially those little marks over the top of the pictures that I showed you earlier are some sort of branding for mind programs or occult stuff. No one really has the good evidence on that, so I'm not going to present that to you yet. Just know that that's what's kind of being tossed around, is that that might be some sort of brand. Now, we just had the Nexium stuff come out, so people being branded in the general public is not, it's not really outside of the bounds of conversation anymore. It does happen. There will be a trial in October, so branding is a thing. Now, one other thing that came up was there's these QAnon posts that talk about having a therapist. Now, this is a Twitter handle called Occulturalism. You can get your information here sometimes. It's a good place to get reputable information and breaking Q posts if you like to track the conversation. Now, the post itself has got a tweet talking about Jarrod Ramos Hartley. My therapist told me people don't search that counseling, much like small talk, BS. Okay, now that's from Jarrod Ramos's Twitter account. Now here's where the Freemason stuff comes in. Everything has a meaning. Therapist confirmed. So somebody pointed out that the therapist, it might be this Kathy Miller person, and I'm not going to show her personal information here because I'll get in trouble. But you can find it here if you like. I'll leave the link, or you can search on Twitter for Kathy Miller. Find the information there. Here's a tweet from Jarrod talking about that again. So what happened to Kathy Mind Eraser Miller's Oasis? Here's my not so special request. Stay effing tuned. And then a monster kind of overcoming somebody. Crazy. Now I've seen some other pictures out of cartoons that have that same similar marking. I'm not going to dig into it right now. It doesn't seem very, very relevant, but that brand is out there. So I'd like to see if we can dig that up somewhere else. I'll keep working on that. This is breaking news, so if you'd like to come over to the drudgereport.com, this is a good place to get some information. The top links right now are all about this topic, so feel free to come take a look. I'd like to end the video by talking about this right here. So this has been mentioned outside of just this link. So there was a Putin summit, and we might be talking about Uranium-1 again here pretty soon. And this happened today as well. I was talking about this at the beginning of the video. This is June 29th, 2018, Friday. So it just got late here. But that's Christopher Wray. He's the head of the FBI, the director of the FBI, and that's Rod Rosenstein. He's the assistant attorney general. And he is in charge of the Mueller investigation per se, and handing over documents related to old investigations into things like the Clinton email scandal, which was related to the OIG report that I showed you earlier. Remember I said the bombshell number 1? So there was some very, very harsh back and forth. It wasn't a very adult conversation for congressional standards, I guess. It's very unprofessional what happened today, but from what I know, they have demanded that he turn over unredacted versions of copies of things they've already given him or given over to Congress, and they want it within a week. Otherwise, they plan to impeach him. So they took a vote on that today. It passed the House floor. We'll see what happens from there. Until next time, this is Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.